mean, keeping in mind that state visits are relatively unusual. The U.S. has many partners, many allies, and most of those allies and partners never receive the honor of a state visit. And of course, this is only the third time that an Indian leader will come as part of a state visit. So the fact that these are relatively unusual means that there's a level of prestige to them, and I think that highlights just how significant the partnership is between the U.S. and India, and I think it shows just how much the U.S. government wants to show the achievement of this relationship, which has been increasing, deepening exponentially for several decades, but I would argue the last year has been a particularly important year for the relationship. So many new breakthroughs in cooperation in tech, clean energy, higher education, along with defense, and I think that both governments, but certainly the Biden administration, along with the Indian government, they want to celebrate and showcase just how deep this partnership has become on so many levels over so little time.
So how much, according to you, is China going to be in focus between the two leaders when they meet, because we know how aggressive it has been in the Indo-Pacific?
China will probably not be mentioned at all in any of the public statements or the joint statements, but privately it's going to be a big part of the conversations. It's certainly going to be one of many agenda points, but I think it's clear that both the U.S. and India have seen their relations with China fall to their lowest level in a number of years, and the U.S. now recognizes just how much just how much China poses a threat to India, obviously on its border, but also in the Indian Ocean region. So I think that there's a lot to talk about how the U.S. and India can work together to counter China, not just in the Pacific, but also certainly in the Indian Ocean.
So you mentioned China is not going to be much focused. Do you think Russia-Ukraine conflict is going to be focused when the leaders meet? Because that is something which we all are seeing it is going to.
Yes, China will be a big focus. To clarify, I think it will be a big focus, but it will be one of many different focus areas. Now, in terms of Russia-Ukraine, any high-level engagement that the U.S. government has with any country involves discussions on Russia and Ukraine. But I would argue that this conversation between Biden and Modi on Russia-Ukraine will not be a tense one. It'll likely be a very positive one, and that's because the U.S. has accepted India's position. It may not have accepted the position right after the invasion, but it accepts it now. It doesn't agree with India's position of not taking a stronger stand against Russia, but it accepts it. And so I think that there's some points of convergence for the U.S. and India to discuss, particularly, the fact that India continues to call for a de-escalation. Prime Minister Modi himself has called for, has said this is not an era of war. That type of messaging is received very well here. So I think that maybe there'll be some conversations about how India can leverage its role as a partner of Russia, but also as a good friend of Ukraine's. Is there some sort of role it could play to try to de-escalate the war? But I think that this is not a sticking point in the relationship as it might have been a year ago.
So Prime Minister Modi and Biden have already met earlier also. How do you think that the visit is going to elevate the strategic partnership that both leaders have? And we also know that he is going to address the Congress. He's the first Indian Prime Minister to address the Congress twice.
It's true that Modi has had many high-level meetings, including with President Biden over his nearly decade in office. But this one is different because it's a state visit. Again, none of the others were state visits, and so you're talking about something that has such levels of prestige that immediately suggests that the partnership is being taken to another level, right? I mean, you've only had two occasions in the past of an Indian leader coming for a state visit. Of course, the previous one was Manmohan Singh, Narendra Modi's predecessor, but these things don't happen that much. And so I think that this really will highlight just how far the relationship has come, especially over the last year. And, Biden and Modi will have multiple opportunities to speak, not only during the formal engagements on Thursday, but also, they speak at a special intimate dinner on Wednesday evening. And I think that's at the dinner, that's an opportunity where the two of them could speak a bit more broadly. There'll be a bit more flexibility in terms of what they could speak about. So they'll really get to know each other quite well.
So I try to bring that same spirit to the events we host here. With this official state visit, we are bringing together the world's oldest and the world's largest democracies. After years of strengthening ties, the U.S.-India partnership is deep and expansive as we jointly tackle global challenges. But our relationship isn't only about governments. We're celebrating the families and friendships that span the globe, those who feel the bonds of home in both of our countries. As some of you may know, Prime Minister Modi is a vegetarian. So we asked Chef Nina Curtis a plant-based pioneer, to work with our White House chefs and create a stunning vegetarian menu. Guests will have the option to add fish to the main course as well, if they choose. Tomorrow night, guests will walk across the south lawn into a pavilion draped in rich greens with saffron-colored flowers at every table, the colors of the Indian flag. And on the transparent sides, these colors and the strength of the heritage they represent frame the iconic scenery and symbols of our nation, our democracy, and our history. The White House and the Washington Monument. Inside, each table arrangement is warm and unique. We hope guests feel as if someone has set that table just for them, because we have. After dinner, we'll have the opportunity to hear one of our nation's incredible talents, Grammy Award winner Joshua Bell. His performance will be followed by Pen Masala, a South Asian a cappella group from the University of Pennsylvania, who are bringing a little piece of my hometown to the White House, along with songs inspired by the sounds of India. Finally, after the last plates are cleared, with new connections forged and old ones strengthened, guests will end their evening walking across a moonlit lawn. There they will be greeted by hundreds of glowing lanterns guiding them home, illuminating their pathway with all the warmth and love and laughter that we hope they take away from our time together. Now, normally, the press comes and you look at the beautiful plates of food that the chefs have prepared and get almost close enough to taste it, but you don't get to try it. So today, I've asked our chefs to prepare a few small bites of tomorrow's menu to thank you for taking the time to be with us today. Every detail of this dinner has been thoughtfully planned by a team of people from across our government. So I want to thank the White House residence staff and social team and the State Department staff who've been working so hard to make this visit meaningful. Now I will turn it over to our social secretary who has guided this process, Carlos Elizondo. Carlos.
Thank you, Dr. Biden. Thank you, Dr. Biden, and thank you all for joining us today. It's hard to make an event of this scale feel intimate, but that's exactly what Dr. Biden has endeavored to do for this state dinner. She has been involved in this event at every step of the way, and every element of the dinner and decor has been chosen to make each guest's experience personal and warm. The inspiration for our design really began with the peacock, India's national bird. From the invitations to the programs to the pavilion, we wanted to evoke that breathtaking feeling when it extends its tail, unveiling its colorful beauty, majesty, and strength. Green draping will flow from the ceiling, giving way to the tables cloaked in the saturated blues and greens of Indian silks, falling onto a carpet of navy blue. The hues not only a nod to our guests, but also to our host, as blue and green are also two of Dr. Biden's favorite colors. Each table will feature an organic arrangement of blooms in vases large and small, as you see here today. It will feel as if someone has gone to their garden and cut flowers just for this event, filling each unique tablescape with special love and care. And the color of the flowers mirrors the saffron of India's flag and the heritage it represents. As leaders have done at state dinners for decades here at the White House, the President and the Prime Minister will give their toasts from an eagle lectern. For this dinner, embossed on the rich forest green backdrop behind them, we have replicated that iconic eagle and a peacock in the same style, framing the leaders with their national birds. and in the peacock's talons, stalks of millets, a nod to India's successful campaign to declare 2023 the International Year of Millets. And around them, lotus flowers, important symbols in India, their gleaming petals reminding us that each day our nations bloom stronger and are more radiant together. And throughout the space, you will see more images of lotuses, their design inspired by the mandala illustrations found in traditional Indian art. The design also reflects Dr. Biden's love of candles, their timeless elegance, and their approachable warmth. Guests will be guided to the pavilion by their flickering light, just visible in the fading sunlight. And the dinner itself will be lit with sparkling candlelight. I would like to thank David Stark and his entire team at David Stark Design and Production, who have just been amazing to work with. David, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for bringing your talent, thoughtfulness, and innovation to this project. Finally, I also want to thank the many teams, especially my team, Team Social, and the Office of the Chief of Protocol, who have worked tirelessly to make this official state visit memorable. As Dr. Biden mentioned, she chose her menu as a nod to the Prime Minister. The dishes will mirror the decor, infusing the cuisine and Indian flavors and culture like millets and saffron. Chef Curtis then worked with Dr. Biden and White House chefs to create the delicious cuisine for the evening. So now, it is my pleasure to introduce Chef Nina Curtis. Thank you.
Yay.
Thank you, Carlos. Thank you, Dr. Biden. Hello, everyone. That was quiet. Oh my goodness. You guys haven't been with me long enough. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Thank you, thank you. You must understand the pressure I'm understanding here before you, but it's a kind of pressure that is also an elation, because when you are asked by the First Lady to come and join her at the White House, it's an experience that I hope many chefs get to have. I am so excited, and it gives me great pleasure to preview tomorrow's anticipated state dinner menu in honor of the Republic of India. This is definitely a pinnacle moment in my career, and truly a pleasure to be able to work with the First Lady and help her to bring her culinary vision to life, alongside Executive Chef Chris Comerford and Executive Pastry Chef Susie Morrison. We have curated a menu that really showcases the best in American cuisine, also then seasoned with Indian elements and flavors. As a native Californian, my ancestry runs deep there, but my parents were very, very instrumental in my foodscape and how I identified food. I grew up with ethnic diversity, rich cultural influences, and fusion food. My dad a chef, and my mom a great cook, really exposed me to the diversity of flavor, textures, and taste. Throughout my culinary career, I have witnessed the remarkable power that food has as an equalizer. A meal lovingly prepared and shared has an enchanting ability to transcend differences, forge connections, and strengthen bonds. Tomorrow's dinner encapsulates this philosophy as we serve this curated menu that allows guests from both countries to experience something of the other's culture. It's summertime. It's my favorite season as a chef because there's this bounty of fruits and vegetables that I get to share with you. They are light, they're refreshing, they're satisfying, and yes, satiating. So this is what we're going to be celebrating. We're also very excited that India is leading efforts to celebrate International Year of the Millets, and we've incorporated millets, marinated millets, into our menu and weaved Indian cuisine elements throughout the menu. So without further ado, have I whet your appetite yet? That doesn't sound too like you need to hang out with me longer. Without further ado, let's dig into the menu. Thank you.
So for the first course, we will be highlighting the millet, since it's the year of the millet, as what Carlos and Chef Nina alluded to. This is the year of the millet, and millet is such a wonderful grain because, first of all, it is climate good because it doesn't need as much water to really cultivate it, and it has a lot of really wonderful health benefits. So if I would really want to eat healthy, millet is the thing for me. So what Chef Nina and I have kind of alluded to is that we did a wonderful marinated millet salad highlighted with a Maryland silver corn. We're in Maryland as well, so, and also some wonderful compressed watermelon that's local, that's compressed. So it really gives it a really wonderful sweetness, and it's highlighted with a tangy avocado vinaigrette that really encapsulates the whole flavor in it. So I'm going to take you to the main course right now.
Thank you, Chef. So I am holding a stuffed portobello mushroom, and it contains summer squash, sun-dried tomatoes. We have leeks, and it's just filled with herbs. And so, as Chef said, we have different herbs from India. I have saffron in this creamy risotto. And keep in mind, this is plant-based, so you're not missing any of the flavors, the textures, or taste. The portobello mushroom has been roasted to perfection, and then it's just a very flavorful and satisfying meal, along with the roasted baby carrots that are sitting on a yogurt lemon dill sauce. And of course, edible flowers. Yes, you can eat the flowers and herbs. They're good for you. Well, here I have the third course, which is the dessert option, and it's a rose and cardamom infused strawberry shortcake. And included with this today, we have a modern twist on an American classic with cardamom infused strawberries. We have a rose syrup marinade with them, as well as a cardamom biscuit, and included are, of course, seasonal strawberries, and we have some citrus marigolds, and then we also have included the colors in the Indian flag and the United States flag in our version of sugar twist, all made by hand. So we made about almost 900 sugar curls together. So we're very excited because this is a very amazing summer dessert, and we're excited for everyone to have it, and we look forward to having it today as well. Thank you.
No, because we're celebrating International Year of the Millet. That was something that we also wanted to bring forth, but they really, the First Lady, we talked about what we wanted to do with Chef Chris and Chef Susie and presented. Obviously, we made several dishes. Yeah. We made several dishes, and we had a wonderful tasting. We talked about our inspiration. My inspiration was First Lady and her desire to bring forth a menu that welcomed, the Prime Minister, and also welcomed the way he eats, and plant-based is around that it's food. It's food and it's good food for you. So there weren't any real specifics. They really let us have the room to present, I guess, if they believe we are the experts with what we do.
Did you use anything out of the White House garden?
Out of the White House garden, I did in the tasting, but due to, yes, right, I worked on gardens, and we would love to be able to produce all, but of course we get to work with the desert purveyors, and so everything is fresh and right on time. But the first tasting, I used everything I could out of the garden shells, and I really pulled up the soil, as they say.
Can you talk a little bit about the millet connection again there?
Yes, so it is the International Year of Millet 2023, and India is leading that effort to really get more people to eat millet. Millet is
Just hold this if you don't mind. On her. Thank you.
It's not as much here in the Americas, but it is so versatile. It can be We actually did 3 different dish tastings with millet, and it was a bit hard to decide which one would be the best. But to start off, of course, we really wanted to
Plant-based menu. What did you like the most about doing that? What did you enjoy the most
It's
about
like
it?
as a chef, we have to be open to everything, but the flavor, you didn't lose any kind of flavor profile because you always think of like, no, I have to use butter and cream, but dealing with all of the plant-based, butter and cheeses and all of the different substitutes that we use, it was amazingly wonderful experience for me as well. It opened up my eyes and my experiences as well.
All right, thank you so much for the tricolor and using the colors.
Well, the thing that I like most about the decor, frankly, is collaborating with the First Lady and Carlos and the entire team here. I mean, the reason why I do what I do is because I love to collaborate. And creating these kinds of ephemeral events, they're fleeting. They last for a moment, and they're about a memory and creating a connection with people. And yes, I love the decor and I love all of the things that make a space warm and beautiful, but ultimately it's really about bringing people together and having that collaborative spirit. That is what really excites me about the work I do.
All right, thank you so much.
The First Lady loves color, and that was one of the first things that I learned in collaborating with her. Color is really important, and that vibrancy and that electricity and the warmth that comes from that. And so, it's a pleasure to be able to seize that when that's something else.
All right, thank you.
और स्टोरेज सॉल्यूशंस पर ध्यान देती है और सेमीकंडक्टर का निर्माण करने की दिशा में ये तेजी से आगे बढ़ रही है।
I think when you look at the kinds of things that the two leaders will be discussing over the next couple of days, you'll see it's very future focused because this is going to be a defining partnership for the next 10, 15 years at least.
The state dinner is always about politics. How would you define the goal of this, getting this relationship closer on a personal level?
Well, I would point you to what we're going to be talking about over the next couple of days, but you'll see from defense cooperation, cyber, space, resilient supply chains, climate change. I could go on and on. It's all about improving and deepening this bilateral relationship with India. It really is a forward-looking, future-focused discussion.
What role India should play in the world stage and in the region?
It's not for us to say what role they should play. Let's talk about the role that they are playing. They're already exporting security in the Indo-Pacific region and beyond. And they are contributing to the Indo-Pacific Quad. We are participating with India in the I2U2. I think you understand that that's a multilateral arrangement for the Middle East. So India is a world player and a net exporter of security and stability, and we look forward to deepening that and seeing that continue to prosper.
Had an excellent meeting with Prime Minister Modi. Very impressed with the vision that he has for India and the advances that India is making. We discussed a wide range of topics, and we really look forward to greater opportunities in India. Micron is a global leader in memory and storage, and we are a supplier for memory and storage in all end markets, from data centers to smartphones to PCs, and today really fueling the AI engine as well. So we are excited about the opportunities that exist for the future of memory and storage. And again, congratulations to Prime Minister Modi on his excellent visit here. So far, it's going great from my understanding, and I wish him and India all the best.
just so impressed with India. And I really believe that the opportunity for India's growth in the semiconductor industry is now. This is India's time to drive incredible growth, and Applied is very, very much looking forward to working together with the Prime Minister and everyone in India to achieve tremendous success together. India is a trusted partner, so I think whether it's Applied Materials or many companies around the world, they see the trust and also the tremendous talent that is there in India. And I just deeply believe this is India's time to shine. We will be announcing soon a new innovation center in India. With Applied Materials, we'll also bring global partners into this new innovation center. And this innovation center will really be focused on innovation in the equipment. And we have very high confidence that working together with India, we can create a tremendous success.
So, sir, thank you very much for speaking to ANI. My first question to you is obviously tomorrow is going to be a historic day when Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be here on his first state visit. Upon departure, he said, that this is a special invitation and it's a reflection of the vigor and vitality of the partnership that these democracies have. How do you see this visit, first of all?
This is an important visit, and this is an historic visit. Not only this is important for the world's oldest democracy, which is the United States, and the largest democracy, which is India, but it's not just important for these two countries, it is also important for the world, because peace in the Indo-Pacific region, Indian Ocean region, is very, very important, and this historic relationship will ensure that we have peace in that region.
Sir, also Prime Minister Modi is going to address the Congress. So he's the first Indian Prime Minister to address the Congress twice. We know he addressed in 2016, and I believe you're going to escort the Prime Minister to the Congress. If you can share some experience about that.
Yes, this is an honor, as I grew up in poverty in India. I was born in Karnataka, and I lived there in India for 24 years of my life, and then I immigrated to America for better life, and got a PhD. I started many businesses, and then decided to enter into public service. So it is a great honor for me to be able to come and be able to escort Mr. Modi to his historic address to the joint session of the U.S. Congress.
So what do you think about how the relationship, between the two countries has started to gain, as India is the 5th largest economy, it is soon going to be the 3rd largest. How do you see the relationship in that way?
The relationship is good, but it can be better. We need to be more stronger allies than we have been. As you know, historically, India has taken a non-alignment position, and India had similar relationship with Russia and United States. But now United States is the only superpower. United States is the oldest democracy, as opposed to Russia, who has encroached on a sovereign country like Ukraine. It is run by a dictator, Putin. So I think India needs to rethink its non-alignment policy, and it would be better. It would be better for the people of India, people of America, and the people of the world if India and United States work together, have a joint collaboration in space and in defense, in education, in commerce. Many Indian Americans have contributed significantly to the growth of American economy, and this relationship is very, very important. And
combat the issue of there has been aggressive China in the Indo-Pacific. We know Blinken was in China, he met Xi Jinping and Wang Yi. How do you think that both countries, India and United States, can come together and tackle this issue of aggressiveness by the China in the Indo-Pacific?
And that is a very good point. China is perhaps has, as we know, been aggressive militarily on the northern border of India. China has been aggressive towards the United States in its unfair trade practices, its unfair labor practices, incorrect environmental policies. So it is important that we stop this China's aggression. China also has, has now close relationship with Russia. So it is aligning itself with the dictatorial Russia, and it is important for United States and India, the two largest and oldest democracies, to come together, join hands, and stop this aggression by China.
So my last question, how do you see the defense relationship between India and United States? We know that defense is something which is going...
there will be work done between U.S. companies investing in India, Indian companies bringing business to the United States. There will also be a substantial amount of agreement for purchase of defense equipment. And that would be, it's that way India can get the most latest, the best equipment from United States. And a military partnership, a defense partnership is just as important as a space or technology or education, is important.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Very much. He's on his first official state visit to the United States. What is the significance about that, and how do you think that this visit is keenly going to be watched by powers around the world?
Well, it'll be watched very much in India, and hopefully it'll also give attention to the India-US relationship in the US as well. It is, as you mentioned, the first state visit by Prime Minister Modi to the US. He's visited many, many times before. And the significance, I think, will be to showcase how broad the relationship is and how on almost every big issue today, India and the US are in discussions, are in conversation. And in many of those areas, perhaps most of those areas, they're cooperating as well. And I think we will see elements of that showcased over the next few days.
So when you look at the relationship between India and US from the domain of defense, trade, healthcare, education, technology, we know that defense is something which is high on agenda. What will you say on that?
So defense is, hopefully we'll see some progress on that. There's some expectations. I think that it's still being negotiated now, but I think we will see hopefully some forward movement on defense co-production and defense trade in some critical areas that are very vital to India's future defense industrial capacity and also for Indian national security. But I would also say that defense is part of a larger issue on many areas of technological security and economic security as well. The US and India are aligning very closely and cooperating very closely.
So how much do you think China is going to be the focus between the two areas? As we know, it has been aggressive in the Indo-Pacific. Also, we are seeing the Russia-Ukraine conflict. How much do you think that both these topics will come up during the discussions?
I mean, there's some of the big issues shaping the world today. I would say on China, clearly India and the US have similar concerns about China's rise and have been on the receiving end of Chinese aggression and are concerned about Chinese aggression. And that is obviously getting the India and the US to cooperate more closely together. On the other hand, the India-US relationship also stands apart, and a lot of the cooperation is happening regardless of China. And if you see that on bilateral trade and economic issues, on investments two ways, on student and R&D cooperation, education cooperation, a lot of that is happening regardless of the China relationship. So obviously it is an important factor, it is an important geopolitical factor, but it is not the sole. India and US are not defining themselves because of China. On Russia, I think it is just a much more immediate concern, and India is feeling the effects on its defense and national security, for its food security, for its energy security, but also for the larger geopolitical shifts that are occurring. On some areas, I think there's a deep understanding of that, at least in the US government. But in other areas where there are differences, I think one of the issues I think Prime Minister Modi has done in the past, and this is appreciated here, is also candidly discuss those differences, and that I think will also take place.
So US and India bilateral trade is now close to $191 billion, and we know that India is the 5th largest economy. It is soon going to be the 3rd largest. this is the relationship, trade relationship between the two countries when there is no FTA between the two countries. Do you think that there could be any sort of talks we can expect FTA between the two countries?
I don't think we'll have an FTA at any time soon for a number of reasons. The US is also not very keen on FTAs with any country, not just India, but particularly with large economies. India, I think, has a sequence of other FTAs it is negotiating, but I don't think it's that important. I mean, the US and Europe don't have an FTA, US and EU, US and Japan don't have an FTA, and these are some of the closest relationships that the US has. So I'm not sure that that is the end goal that is viable or necessary in the near term. There are many other aspects and many other ways of deepening economic cooperation absent an FTA.
So Prime Minister Modi is also going to address the joint sitting of the Congress. He would be the first Indian Prime Minister to address the Congress twice. In 2016, we heard that PM Modi spoke about how India and US have overcome the hesitations of the past during his Congress address. He's going to address now also. How do you see that relationship going forward?
Congress matters a lot because, unlike in a parliamentary system such as in India, the Congress is very independent of the presidency and sometimes acts contrary to the presidency. And there are also shifts in both, the shifts in parties. We have elections in the US every 2 years, 2 years in Congress, every 4 years in the presidency. So part of addressing Congress is about maintaining that bilateral relation, the bipartisan sense of the relationship. Appealing to both Democrats and Republicans, both of whom, sometimes for different reasons, value the relationship with India. And I think that is perhaps, why it is important to reach out to Congress in that way.
So what is the focus that you see on technology partnership? Do you think that this is going to be a win-win partnership between the two countries?
I think neither India nor US has much choice in that. So for the US, if it wants to compete technologically, it will require a level of technical talent, human capital, that it cannot produce domestically. And one of the places, one of the most important places, it will have to source some of that capital, and this includes for researchers and scientists, this includes innovators and business entrepreneurs, it includes technicians, will be India. So India is absolutely vital to the US's future emergence as a maintenance of its technological superiority. For India, the relationship with the US is vital as well. Sometimes for slightly different reasons. That is the need for technology, for cutting edge technology, the need for investment. India will have to look at countries like the US, advanced economies led by the US, and so for that reason, I don't think if India and the US seriously want to compete as technological powers in the near future, they will require a partnership with each other.
So last question, there is a lot of buzz about delay of visa that Indians get. Do you think that this is something that is going to be a part of the discussion between the two countries?
Absolutely. The visa issue has been taken up at the highest levels and has been discussed certainly over the past year or two, particularly after the coronavirus pandemic. It has been an absolutely top-level issue, and so I think we will see some, hopefully some developments on that front and steps taken by the US and also by India to help expedite the processing of visas for Indians, including many Indians who want to come study in the US.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for speaking to us.
आपकी उपलब्धियां सभी के लिए प्रेरणा का स्रोत है। हमारी वर्तमान और आने वाली पीढ़ियों को एक बेहतर भविष्य सुनिश्चित करने के लिए ये हम सभी का दायित्व है। इस उज्जवल भविष्य के लिए आवश्यक है एजुकेशन, स्किल, इनोवेशन, और भारत में हमने इस दिशा में कई प्रयास किए हैं। हमने नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी में शिक्षा और स्किलिंग को इंटीग्रेट किया है। हमने स्कूलों में लगभग 10,000 अटल टिंकरिंग लैब्स उसकी स्थापना की है, जहां बच्चों को तरह तरह के इनोवेशन करने के लिए सभी प्रकार की सुविधाएं दी जा रही हैं। हमने युवा एंटरप्रेन्योर्स को प्रोत्साहित करने के लिए स्टार्टअप इंडिया मिशन शुरू किया है। हमारा लक्ष्य इस डेकेड को टेक डेकेड या टेकेड बनाने का है। फ्रेंड्स, आज भारत और अमेरिका को ग्रोथ का मोमेंटम बनाए रखने के लिए एक पाइपलाइन ऑफ टैलेंट उसकी भी जरूरत है। जहां एक और अमेरिका के पास उच्च कोटि के शिक्षण संस्थान है, एडवांस टेक्नोलॉजीज है, वहीं भारत के पास विश्व की सबसे बड़ी युवा फैक्ट्री है। और इसलिए मुझे विश्वास है कि भारत और अमेरिका की साझेदारी सस्टेनेबल और इंक्लूसिव ग्लोबल ग्रोथ का इंजन साबित होगी। अमेरिका में कम्युनिटी कॉलेज द्वारा निभाई जा रही अहम भूमिका के लिए मैं हृदय से आप सबका बहुत बहुत अभिनंदन करता हूं। फ्रेंड्स, भारत और अमेरिका के बीच शिक्षा और रिसर्च में आपसी सहयोग के लिए मैं जरूर कुछ विचार साझा करना चाहता हूं। इस साझा प्रयास में जरूरी है कि गवर्नमेंट, इंडस्ट्री, एकेडेमिया, टीचर्स और स्टूडेंट्स सभी को शामिल किया जाए। एक इंडिया यूएस टीचर्स एक्सचेंज प्रोग्राम की शुरुआत के विषय हम सोच सकते हैं। दुनिया भर में फैले साइंटिस्ट और एंटरप्रेन्योर्स का भारत के संस्थानों के साथ एंगेजमेंट बढ़ाने के लिए हमने 2015 में ज्ञान ग्लोबल इनिशिएटिव ऑफ एकेडमिक नेटवर्क अभियान शुरू किया था। मुझे बताते हुए खुशी है कि इसके तहत अब तक यूएस से 750 फैकल्टी मेंबर्स भारत आ चुके हैं। मैं यूएस में खास तौर पर विंटर ब्रेक भारत में बिताए, वे भारत को जाने भी और भारत की नई पीढ़ी के साथ अपना ज्ञान भी बांटे। आप भी जानते हैं कि युवाओं की क्रिएटिविटी और इनोवेशन का जो स्पिरिट है वो अद्भुत होता है। मुझे लगता है कि दोनों देशों को मिलकर अलग अलग विषयों पर हैकाथॉन भी करना चाहिए और इससे हमें आज की कई समस्याओं के समाधान भी मिल सकते हैं और भविष्य के लिए नए आइडियाज भी। हम वोकेशनल स्किल क्वालिफिकेशंस के म्यूचुअल रिकग्निशन के बारे में भी जरूर विचार कर सकते हैं। फ्रेंड्स, मैं चाहूंगा कि स्टूडेंट एक्सचेंज प्रोग्राम के तहत अमेरिका से भी बच्चे भारत आएं और भारत को देखें, भारत को जानें। मुझे आशा भी है और विश्वास भी है कि वो दिन दूर नहीं जब नवाहो नेशन का युवा भारत के नॉर्थ ईस्ट नागालैंड में बैठे अपने दोस्त के साथ मिलकर एक आइडिया, एक प्रोजेक्ट को को डेवलप करेगा। आप लोगों ने मुझे इतने सारे आइडियाज दिए, इसके लिए मैं सचमुच में इन दो नौजवानों का हृदय से आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। मैं एक बार फिर फर्स्ट लेडी डॉक्टर जिल बाइडेन के प्रति हृदय से आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। मैं नेशनल साइंस फाउंडेशन को भी और सभी को यहां आने के लिए फिर से धन्यवाद देता हूं। थैंक यू।
Democracies. But our relationship isn't just about governments. We're celebrating the families and friendships that span the globe, those who feel the bonds of both of our countries. After years of strengthening ties, the U.S.-India partnership is deep and expansive as we jointly tackle global challenges. Mr. Prime Minister, I know that education is an issue close to your heart, as it is to mine. You work to ensure that all Indians, especially girls, which I love, have the opportunity to pursue an education and gain the skills they need for our modern workforce, and it's so important. It's exciting to be able to show you some of the innovative programs our schools and businesses are creating for students here. And I'm so glad to be joined by Ambassadors Garcetti and Sandow. Williams, Anshul, thank you for sharing your stories. Mr. Mehrotra, Dr. Williams, thank you for your insights and for your work. And finally, we're so grateful to the National Science Foundation for hosting us. There are students in this room who are discovering the inner workings of semiconductors, starting in middle and high school, or training for other cutting-edge jobs. And as established businesses are transformed by new technology, as industries that didn't exist a decade ago are created, this kind of training is more important to our future than ever. If we want our economies to be strong, we need to invest in young people who are our future. We need to ensure that they have the opportunities that they deserve. Through Joe's Investing in America agenda, we're creating millions of good jobs in growing industries like clean energy and manufacturing. And we're bringing together our entire administration, including agencies like NSF, to partner with employers, unions, schools, and local governments so we can ensure that students have what they need to pursue these careers. That's the Biden education pathway. It starts with free, high-quality, universal preschool and creates a high school experience that prepares students for their next steps. It provides 2 years of affordable community colleges and opens up avenues if you decide to go to a 4-year college. That's how we build the future of our workforce. Education is the cornerstone of the bond between India and the United States, one we hope to keep strengthening and building with this visit. Our universities are partnering together, leading research, creating apprenticeships and internships that span the ocean. And as we've seen here, students from both countries are learning and growing alongside of each other, discovering the people they want to become, and building a better world together. Working side by side, our nations can create a safer, healthier, more prosperous future for everyone. So again, to Prime Minister Modi and the entire Indian delegation, thank you for joining us. And we wish you a memorable visit.
के साथ जुड़ने का मौका मिला है। नेशनल साइंस फाउंडेशन के साथ मिलकर भारत कई प्रोजेक्ट्स पर काम कर रहा है, इसलिए ये वैल्यू भी विशेष है। डॉक्टर बाइडेन, आपका जीवन, आपके प्रयास और आपकी उपलब्धियां सभी के लिए प्रेरणा का स्रोत है। हमारी वर्तमान और आने वाली पीढ़ियों को एक बेहतर भविष्य सुनिश्चित करने के लिए ये हम सभी का दायित्व है। टेक्नोलॉजीज है, वहीं भारत के पास विश्व की सबसे बड़ी युवा फैक्ट्री है और इसलिए मुझे विश्वास है कि भारत और अमेरिका की साझेदारी सस्टेनेबल और इंक्लूसिव ग्लोबल ग्रोथ का इंजन साबित होगी। अमेरिका में कम्युनिटी कॉलेज द्वारा निभाई जा रही अहम भूमिका के लिए मैं हृदय से आप सबका बहुत बहुत अभिनंदन करता हूं। फ्रेंड्स, भारत और अमेरिका के बीच शिक्षा और रिसर्च में आपसी सहयोग के लिए मैं जरूर कुछ विचार साझा करना चाहता हूं। इस साझा प्रयास में जरूरी है
for India's growth in the semiconductor industry is now. This is India's time to drive incredible growth, and Applied is very, very much looking forward to working together with the Prime Minister and everyone in India to achieve tremendous success together. India is a trusted partner, so I think whether it's Applied Materials or many companies around the world, they see the trust and also the tremendous talent that is there in India. And I just deeply believe this is India's time to shine. We will be announcing soon a new innovation center in India. With Applied Materials, we'll also bring global partners into this new innovation center. And this innovation center will really be focused on innovation in the equipment, and we have very high confidence.
कार्यक्रम में अमेरिका के प्रथम महिला नागरिक डॉक्टर जिल बाइडेन भी मौजूद थी।